Hey everyone, welcome to my channel, That's Right Homeschool. My name is Mrs. T. I am happy to say that I'm coming to you today as somebody who has finished the 2024 to 2025 school year. We did it, we're done. So hip hip hooray. This year was a big year for us. So it was our second year that we have finished homeschooling, but it's the first year that we had both kids in school. And it's also our first year that we had to actually turn in like paperwork to the government. So had to be a little bit stricter and make sure that we were adhering to what the requirement was for the law and all that fun stuff. So very big milestone year for us on two different fronts. So today I want to go over some of our successes from this past year, some of our mehs, and some of our misses. And then I also want to go through our curriculum and kind of just briefly talk about things that we liked, things that we had to modify, things that we maybe removed, and just have a general chat, a little bit loosey-goosey here. So we'll start with some successes. To me, a huge success of this school year is the fact that we have finished 180 school days. That is no easy feat. And last year, I feel like we didn't have 180 days, but we were very consistent. We were focusing on building to that point. But this year, with my kindergartner, we tackled 180 days. And I'm just so proud of him and all of his hard work. And I'm also proud of me for making sure that we passed that finish line. Now, we did not do 180 days for my preschooler, but we were so consistent, which brings me to, I would say, success number 2 is just how consistent we were with homeschooling this past year. It was consistency with implementing our curriculum. It was consistency with going to piano lessons and different physical activities, consistency with meeting people and going and exploring. Just all in all, I think they had a really well-balanced school year. We had a lot of socialization. We had a lot of learning. We were in the house, but we weren't only in the house. We went and explored all sorts of different areas. And that consistency and that balance is something that I'm very proud of. Another thing I'm really proud of in this past year is we really started to establish some very solid friendships. There are 2 kids in particular that my children really bonded with, but there are 3 families that we have consistently done things with throughout the school year. And we're actually starting to bond a little bit more with another group of people. So forward looking, we are going to be having even more friends that we get to do things with and explore with and learn with, which is really exciting. So those things are probably, I would say, my biggest like woohoos. I think it was amazing. Now for our meh, I really could only think of one meh for me this past year, and that was our planner. We have this School Nest planner, and it is actually a really solid planner. I just didn't need it for this previous year. I have found that I've really established the kind of planning person, I should say, that I am. And I was getting a little bit, we'll say, down on myself during the school year at different times when I would come up with a plan for like the week or the month, and we were just not hitting any of those goals. And that's really discouraging for me. So I would say like figuring out my planning style took me a long time. And I know that my planning style is going to have to change, and it will change as my children get older. But next year we will not be using the same planner. We're going to be basically recording what we do, and I will be doing some digital planning as opposed to having a big spread, like a big monthly spread, a list of field trips, a weekly planning, and then the daily details then populated. It was just too much for me. It wasn't what I was looking for at this time, but I only learned that through doing. So still, it wasn't like a failure. It's just like it just wasn't perfect, and that's okay. That's okay. The actual planner itself is amazing, and I have a feeling I will use it again when I will need some more actual forward planning rather than just jotting down what we do. But anyway, I will definitely buy one of those again. Just it was not the right fit for this season, and that's totally fine. Now for our misses, I really could think of only 2 things. The first miss for this previous school year is my schedule. So we did our school year went from late August / early September all the way now to the first week in June. And going forward, next year, we actually are going to do things a little bit different. We are going to start earlier so that way we can take more breaks, because we start experiencing burnout, especially near the end of the year. And because we were already late in the, well, not even late, but just because we're closer to summer, we'll say the summer season, we really didn't have that flexibility to take more time off. If we wanted to hit those 180 days and by that deadline that is required by my county to submit our attendance and other records, then I really had to make sure that we just stuck to it. And that was a little bit intense at times. So we did definitely, for those days, had to make some adjustments. But going forward, what I think we're going to do is we'll start probably in July. And then that will enable us to be a little bit slower with our implementation, still hit those 180 days, but not feel like we're in a time crunch. We felt like we were in a time crunch at the end. All right, miss number 2. I way over purchased and way over planned for this previous year. I definitely learned a lot here. I feel like every year I get a little bit better. So we'll see. Maybe by the time my children graduate high school, I'll be like, finally, I found the way to not over purchase. But yeah, we way over purchased and way over planned for this previous year. So this did mean that we dropped off some of the curriculum that we chose. We just saw a different change. And also, when we were experiencing some of our curriculum, some of it just wasn't the right fit and we needed to fill gaps. So we actually had to add some additional things. So anyway, okay, so I was going through and I was going through every single piece of curriculum that I originally selected. I decided, let's scrap it, you guys. It's just way too long. Instead, what I want to do for curriculum, which I want to talk about now, is I want to talk about overall what our big successes were for each subject area. So we're going to start with my preschooler because that's a lot easier. So for preschooler this past year, we had some really good success with math, handwriting, and phonics. So for math, he got through a large quantity of Saxon Math K, which we started later in the year. He finished mathematical reasoning beginning levels 1 and 2, and he finished preschool math at home. He loved math, and it was such a big success. I'm really, really proud of him with how he progressed in math. For handwriting, we utilized the Explode the Code Primer series. He finished books A and B, and he's partway through C. And we will actually circle probably back through those. They're working really well. His pencil grip is amazing, and he does well doing like a single sheet. Nothing more than that, but like a single sheet where he's concentrating, it's a good quantity for him. So that's going well as well. And then lastly, for phonics, my preschooler has finished Elemental Phonics Level 1 twice. He got some good extra practice in there. He finished Hooked on Phonics Levels 1 and 2. He read a number of levels from Progressive Phonics, and he's just doing great. He's been picking up Bob books, and we're reading Bob books with him as part of our summer reading. We've already kind of kickstarted that, and he's just doing wonderful, wonderful with phonics. Now, there are other things that we did with him, but I would say those are our highlights. Now, kindergartner obviously had a lot more than preschooler. So we'll go through, we're not going to talk about everything that we did with my kindergartner, but we're going to talk about some of our favorite pieces of curriculum for all of these. So we'll start with math with my kindergartner. We pulled a number of different resources into our school year. Math UC Primer was a huge success. We loved this program and we're excited to continue with it into the following year. Same thing with Math with Confidence Kindergarten. He loved it. We loved the hand-on instruction. Sometimes the teacher involvement was a little bit hard for us to get used to because it is pretty teacher intensive with like manipulatives and there's just kind of a lot of parts to it. but it works really well, and the outline and the format of the lesson plans are really easy to follow. So we loved Math with Confidence as well, also continuing that next year. Mathematical Reasoning, Level A, he finished, another highlight. We loved it. And I just want to shout out one more thing that we didn't use the majority of the year, but we've really been using it the last 2 months, and that's Schiller Learning Math at Home. It is so good, you guys. He loves this program. It is so good. So that's been really enjoyable. The music is fun, the manipulatives, the games. It's really a very fun program. So that's been really nice to do at the end of the year here as a slower unwind math. Now for language arts, he's used a lot of really great components, but I will say we'll start with kind of our highlights. His handwriting has improved drastically this past year. We really focused on the Writing for Learning series. We finished the pre-K K book and the K book. So 2 different books, and it worked really well. We did a single page a day, and he didn't mind it. Like, we were really consistent about handwriting, starting probably in late fall, early winter. And once we got that consistency, it just became part of our routine, and it was just an easy thing. We just did a single page, and his handwriting improved so much. I'm very proud of him with his handwriting. We did a lot of reading, like phonics, and we made our way through All About Reading Level 1. Now, we didn't finish the curriculum, and at first I felt like, oh my gosh, we're behind. But I'm actually really proud of everything that he has done this past year with his phonics. This Level 1 is taking us quite a bit of time to go through. But you know what? It was kind of hard for him at first to get some concepts with reading certain sounds. He kept mixing up D's and B's and P's. He kept struggling with certain kinds of blends, certain consonant teams, but we're at a point now where it's starting to click. And not only is it starting to click, but even rules that he hasn't learned yet, like for example, we haven't learned like what sound E together make, like the E. But if he's able to read everything around it, he's starting to be able to piece together and figure out more challenging words and words that contain sounds that we haven't exactly learned yet because he can piece together clues. And this was a really big moment, like an aha moment for him. And we are really starting to pick up the pace, and he's starting to enjoy reading a lot more than he was in the earlier part of the year. So All About Reading has been a highlight. We struggled with it for a little bit because of the word lists, but modifying this program to fit our needs has actually turned out to be a little bit easier than I expected. Okay, another piece of curriculum that we really liked is Core Knowledge. We leveraged their history and geography and their science for kindergarten, and we loved this program. It was so good. It was so good. It was something that was very enjoyable for us, a little unexpected because neither of these were, well, the history and geography was one of our curriculum picks for social studies, but the science was not. It was not on my radar, but ended up filling a gap that in an area that I was really struggling with implementing our original picks. So huge shout out to Core Knowledge. Woohoo! That was a really good success as well. My kid really enjoyed it. Now, his favorite thing that we did, I asked him what his favorite thing that he studied was, and he said French. We are using the Les Loustiques program, and he is really doing well. He loves the CD that comes with it. He does a lot of that listening practice, and he's starting to become more confident with his verbal. His listening, though, he's doing really, really well. So I was actually really excited because he started to pick up and feel more comfortable, and it has sparked this love of learning and wanting to learn other languages. So he's like, how about Italian? How about Spanish? How about sign language? Why aren't I learning more French? So it's been really nice to see his love of languages just kind of blossom and grow through the success of this program. So we really did enjoy the French main program, which was Les Loustiques. And there are so many other things that you guys that we did. Project Learning Tree, that was great. Didn't implement it as much as we wanted to, but it was really solid. We had, exploring the world through story was really good. We finished that whole thing. That was great as part of our language arts. But we had so many different components that just really meshed well together. Now, knowing what I know now, I did go and I created a video like what would I repick for kindergarten, and I'll link that in the description because that will kind of show you a little bit of the other things in more detail what we had success with this past year. But I don't want to go into further detail. There's too many components. I think the last thing I will go ahead and just talk a little bit about is music. My child has been consistently working through the Prodigy's music lessons, and we still really, really like it. But the thing that he really started doing great on this past year is piano. He started flying through piano. He's reading his notes. He's playing with two hands where the hands are now doing different things. We've been so consistent about going to piano lessons, and I'm very proud of all of his hard work. It's hard to sit down every single week behind a piano at somebody else's arrangement and sit there and be told what to do for 30 minutes at this age, but he is just doing it, and I'm so proud of him, and he loves it. So anyway, these are my thoughts on this year. Comment down below. Let me know how your school year has been going or how it went. I'd love to hear what your hits, your misses, the things you liked, the things you found to be a little bit difficult. If you're still here, please subscribe, and I will talk to you guys soon. Have a happy, happy summer. Bye, everyone.